let us prepare, make some good profits today. Now, market left us big clues right here. This is important. You have to watch this because the 5-day will start trending up in this orange. You see that? I talked about this yesterday as well, and this is important, right? Because the trending up here in that orange, you see the orange is still buying as well. There is a little pullback here. Is this going to be continuing to pull back further? That you have to be waiting out for the 5-day too. There are some clues intraday. Let me just show you that here. It's important you understand the intraday analysis so you're able to plan ahead and also use these intraday algorithms, apply them in the larger context. Now at 9:51 here, this was quite straightforward, right? This was 9:51 a.m. here. Let's see the timestamp. Once you're able to understand the teal and the pink liquidity, just building structure right there, right? Waiting out for that inverse head and shoulder pattern. So it's quite straightforward trade. Have you understood? I talked about this magenta as well. I will show you that in a while, how this market is capped in that magenta. But otherwise, you noticed that throughout the entire day, it was pink that was building liquidity and being capped by magenta. Still quite beautiful trades here if you manage to take some. Especially here, this was quite a beautiful trade as well. And you see how we started being capped by the magenta. I mean the pink, penny perfect right there before we went down, digging a little deeper. And you see it for yourself here. When you understand magenta, and as I was showing you here, the tapering of magenta right there. Right, so this is 1124. You already understood there was 1124 was here. So you already understood that there was some form of magenta that's tapering in the range there, right? So this is no surprise to you as long as you are able to understand how to be identifying the algorithms, right? You see it for yourself right there. So it's quite straightforward, nothing new to you. If you've been here for a while, you understood that we also lacked the runway, but you see how magenta started tapering here. You had the pink to help you take the zombie trade. So this is an absolutely beautiful day regardless. If you were focused on finding one trade a day, you took your money and you went to feed your family and you call it a day, set alerts. This is exactly the type of day that is best for you. So please remember to be just finding profits in the charts. Don't be too concerned where the charts are going. And with the algorithms, you're able to identify the setup you want, take your profits, right? Find your great setup, take your profits, call it a day. One trade a day, that's all you need. Now, where do we go from here? Now, this becomes quite easy to understand once you see the orange starting to build liquidity with 5-day coming, trending up like that. Firstly, in the morning, did you see this? Right, we were building liquidity and we had a breakout right on the day, and there was a retracement here of this buying continuation. Right, so this is no surprise to you, and thereafter, in that buying continuation, you see that we were starting to being capped by that orange, and the largest red candle came in the break of that green, and then we started continuing to stay in that orange, and now you see the orange had some retracement here. Let's take a look at this. How do we digest this? Now, very importantly, if this wants to continue going up, you have to look out for the market to start building more liquidity here. A 5-day will start catching up, right? We eventually will have another 5-day retest. So let's pay close attention to see if the market builds a little bit more liquidity for another leg up, using this as the left shoulder for the inverse head and shoulder pattern. So this is where you pay close attention to 5-day. Now remember, I talked about the orange algorithm as well. You see how the orange has been buying, right? And this time now the orange has been buying with the 5-day trending up together with it. All right, so eventually, now why is this important? Because eventually the 5-day will start petering out a little bit, right? So when you look at that and see that happen, this is when you know that the blue algorithm will start taking some control, and that's what you want to see if there's going to be a slight pullback. So if there's going to be a slight pullback, remember, it's always the blue. If you've been watching the videos, it's always the blue that has some sort of pullback. So look out for that. Right, I will chart another level here. Look out for the blue having some pullback. But what you want to be closely paying attention to is if we do close the cup along the blue and the orange. Now this will be important. 5-day turn into resistance before this starts heading down. So pay close attention to that. Now I mentioned to you, you have to be very careful, isn't it? Because everyone's gunning for these gaps, but you don't see the market filling it. We are still in a buying continuation. So if the market is still in the buying continuation with the 5-day following it, don't get trapped. Don't get trapped calling for things that don't exist, right? So this is known as a trend. Follow it until it doesn't, right? And how does it not? When the orange breaks, when the 5-day breaks, right? And you have the benefit of seeing the blue liquidity here as well. So when you know certain structure, how do you pay close attention to that? So remember, by then 5-day will start trending down. I always tell you that. As 20-day approaches, the very key liquidity level here, as I was telling you, and see 20-day just entered the key liquidity level. So it can stay there for a while if it wants to, yeah? And if there's a dump, this will happen. 5-day will plateau and start tapering down. You will see the structure that I shown you there earlier. Right now, ideally, it's healthy for the market to do that. There is more sustained upside. That will be a pullback and retrace. This will be better liquidity if it wants to head down. So this entire area here turning into a healthier liquidity. This will be healthy, right? But you know, you take it level by level, algorithm by algorithm. You have just to be patient, right? You know that this may be possible to save up some cash. That's what I'm trying to say, right? At the meantime, let it go up in the orange buying continuation structure. Why don't you? Especially when 5 days already still going up with it. So anyway, please watch yesterday's video. The links are in the description. I talked about some very important trend indicators you have to pay close attention to, and it's good for you if you chain up your thoughts, my thought processes from one video to another. And more importantly, I talked about how the market has been in one market cycle literally in the past couple of months. And so that will be very beneficial for you. It's a great opportunity to learn something that the market usually takes years. It happened in 2 months. So there's so much to learn, and I have videos every day. So if you chain up the videos every day since we were in March and watch it every day, you will certainly improve very much. So please do that. And more importantly, watch yesterday's video, which will link you to the video yesterday. You get the point. It's great if you continue to learn this before you start taking your first trade. So please do not be reckless. There is a certain skill that is required more than just pressing buttons. So just be more mindful of that instead of recklessly losing money. So thank you very much for watching. See you closer to opening bell.